there guys, welcome back to another awesome video, and today's movie review is going to be of Peter Pan. So, I feel Peter Pan doesn't really need any explanation because I feel one way or another we're very familiar with the character and with the story because there's been so many adaptations, interpretations, versions of this character and of this story. This is Disney's version. And whether it's different or not from the fairy tale book or the actual book, because I think the book is a little darker, I don't know quite exactly. There's been so many interpretations and adaptations of this. But this is Disney's attempt. This is Disney's attempt. So I don't remember who this was specifically directed by, although I need to get a little better at that with a majority of movies. If I don't know a specific director, I should look up the specific director or just see the specific director for a specific movie. But I feel like this movie could be easily have done or made or directed by anyone that was in the Walt Disney Company or in the Walt Disney production around the 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, around that time period, because this was when Disney was first starting its animated movies and reaching its highest grossing peak with things like Jungle Book and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Fantasia, and so forth. This is definitely still up there. And personally, this is still one of my favorite animated movies. And I say still because for many reasons. One reason I want to kind of go into real quick is that I feel like I have almost like a small hold on this film for many reasons. I think one of the reasons because I loved this so much growing up. I didn't obviously grow up with this movie, but how many times I countlessly rewatched this movie, had the DVD and kept rewatching it and all this other stuff, loving this story. And then just, I don't know if it's just me or maybe just if it's a generalized thing, but it's almost like pirates and boys go hand in hand. I don't know, there's just something about it. There's something just cherishable about this film to me, personally, on a few matters. And the other reason why I say this is still my favorite is because this is one of those movies that back in its time, there was a lot of different things that happened and a lot of different other stuff that were of its time, let's just say for now being. But let's just say right out the gate, with that being said, I do want to also add that it is interesting looking at it now so many years later because you notice those things, but also you notice the appreciation more. I actually appreciate this movie a lot more seeing this. A lot of the details I never would have saw when I was younger and as a kid, I see now. Things like, take for example, when you have the Lost Boys, the fact that they don't have any memory of their mom, if they ever had a mother, if they ever had parents, because they've been in Neverland for so long, they've been young and so young that they maybe don't remember these things. Even when Michael and John are only at Neverland for what feels like maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe 3, start to forget they have parents and what their parents were like, that now they kind of look to Wendy, and Wendy still being the more mature one. Little touches. And other little touches, I love the idea of Hans Conried plays both. He's the father, Mr. Darling, and Captain Hook, almost as if it's kind of got that Wizard of Oz thing feel to it, where one person feels very familiar to another. Not only that, but the fact of both Mr. Darling and Captain Hook have that, they're the only adults in this story besides the mother, besides Mrs. Darling, but they're the ones that are more authoritative. They're the ones with more charge, with more command, trying to present more stoicness amongst these kids. And speaking of Hans Conried, he's always been one of my favorite reasons why I love Captain Hook. He's been one of the reasons why he's one of my favorite Disney villains. And I love what Hans Conried does with Captain Hook. He's funny, he's sympathetic, he's funny, he's pathetic, but he's also intimidating and threatening, and he's got a great presence. And another small detail that I really do like with Captain Hook is the crew. I find it very intriguing that the crew has a very almost 50-50 respect but also disrespect for Captain Hook. They hate him but they like him, and it kind of puts you in this perspective of, do they have no choice but to respect him, or do they actually genuinely respect him and they just also hate him at the same time? Or is there kind of a fakeness to it where it's they pretend to like him or pretend to respect him when in all reality they hate Captain Hook's guts for just his obsession over Peter Pan, which I wouldn't honestly, I wouldn't blame them in a way, but you also gotta look at Hook for just having so much revenge. Everything else is great. The characters are great, animation is great. You could maybe argue that maybe Peter Pan doesn't age well as a character because the way he treats Wendy and how he kind of acts at first when he first meets Wendy, kind of like blowing her off, kind of being like, oh, treating her like a wench a little bit, but I don't see that necessarily as an asshole type of thing. It's just him being childish and him being immature, and that's not excusable, but it is that mentality that he has because he doesn't know better. And also he has that like ruffianness to him, so he doesn't really know much, and later obviously he learns a little bit. He learns a little bit, tiny bit of maturity. I mean, he's still, you can kind of see him as a brat, but other than that, I don't see really that much of a mild or major issue with him. The songs I still love and adore, although there is one that I will say that, yes, I know it is very controversial, but hear me out, people. In my defense, hear me out. What made the red man red? Yeah, it is very hard. Is it hard to listen to and it's very kind of racist? Yes. Is it kind of catchy? Sort of, yeah. Like, it's, the thing is that it's catchy, but the problem is that the lyrics are so bad, it's kind of hilarious when you actually listen to it. When you listen to lyrics, it's hilarious of how, like, inaccurate and how stupid why these Indians are red-faced. Like, it is bad. It is kind of like, you might cringe at it, but it is kind of funny. It is bad. It's funny sort of situation. And not trying to defend it, but at least, I will say this for the song, at least it's in the film, so that way we look at it now, we learn from this. We learn from this history. We learn that not to do something like this. We learn not to treat people like this. We learn to not respect or disrespect people in this manner, to not repeat history and basically gloss over history like everything was all peachy keen and filled with glitter and gold and dust and magic and fairy. At least learn in a small sense that, yeah, this stuff was bad for its time, doesn't age well, yes, but at least we can learn and not do anything stupid like this. And also another side note is, I love, like, the old school Disney stuff. Like, I love a lot of these animated movies, but I love when Disney did the live action shots with the actors and then animated it. I love when they did stuff like that behind the scenes. I love when they did that with this movie, Sleeping Beauty. I don't know about Jungle Book, but I know they did it with Sleeping Beauty. They did it with Alice in Wonderland. They might have done it with Cinderella, but I know at a certain point they did these, like, they actually had the actors perform them, like almost like a theater, and I like that too. So that's another bonus for me, and I just have a lot of cherished things about this film. Yes, it's not perfect, but I at least know its flaws, but I at least can still enjoy it to a small degree, and it's still considered one of my favorites, and it's still one of my classics. But I'm gonna say Peter Pan. I'm gonna give Peter Pan, I am going to give it at least a B+. So Peter Pan, have you guys seen it? What did you think of it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please smash the like button. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe to awesome videos every day, every week. Make sure you ring that bell to new videos every day of the week. Share the video with your friends, all the good stuff and more. Leave me suggestions in the comment section. You name it, I'll look into it as best as possible. Somewhere down the line, I will do that Q&A I keep saying. I will do it somewhere down the line. Don't you worry. I just have other reviews, other videos, other top 10s and stuff I would like to perhaps go through before we get to that Q&A. So it may or may not be on hold, but still I will get to that. And anything else that you guys request or think that, oh, what's happened, we'll get to it as soon as possible. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.